late in there. Actually, I filled out like all of 3 things. My book of the year. I don't know what that was. Alright, well, I am criminally late to this video, being that it is nearly the end of January and I have not uploaded a single video yet. And the reason is, really honestly, I have been having a tough time because I'm really struggling to concentrate on anything to do with anything that isn't the madness that is happening in the world right now. Because how does one life when that is happening? And it feels very frivolous to be like, I'm gonna plan my reading goals. But I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? Number one, me ruminating and not doing anything, not helping anyone. Me sitting there and reading books that gets me a little happier, that gets me a little more informed maybe, that makes me a little more educated so I can make educated decisions. Not a bad thing. These are not bad things. So I, alas, am trying to today just get myself into action. And so I thought, hey, let's have a bookish day. It is kind of like midday right now, so it might be like today and then tomorrow. So like a bookish 24 hours, if you will. Basically, all I want to do is plan my reading year. I just want to like set some intentions and some goals. I feel like if I just don't do that at the start of the year, I kind of pick up whatever's in front of me and then I get to the end of the year and I'm like, oh, I didn't read these books that I really wanted to get to, or I forgot about that release, or hey, I read way too many new releases and I totally forgot about my backlog or my TBR, all these things, okay? So we're gonna just essentially do a bookish video. I have some just like general bookish things that I need to get done. Like for example, I need to return these books. So we're gonna go into town and get that sorted. And while I'm in there, I really want to pick up some arts and crafts supplies because I want to start a new 2026 book journal. And almost just a bit of a commonplace book. I think I'm going to go a bit broader this year because I tried to do a book only journal last year and it doesn't captivate me. So I think I'm just going to have it be a bit more generic. But I do want to pick up supplies for that. And then we'll come back and if we've got time, we'll start on the book journal. But if not, that will be tomorrow's challenge. And then I'll walk you guys through what I come up with at the end. That is the plan. Let's head into town. So yesterday we did in fact run out of the day, so we are back again today to finish off our bookish day. Essentially yesterday I went into town to drop off those 2 books. This is my first experience ordering with this online company. I can't remember the name of it. Biblioco. It's a really great program where you can order from independent bookshops and they get a cut, but you still get the convenience of ordering online. It's kind of like the competition of Amazon, I guess, if you will. And so it's a good format. The customer service, a little clunkier. I'd like to see that get a little tidier, but we give people grace. And overall, my experience was really good. But essentially, I ordered something and the wrong thing came. These things happen. So Left Hand of Darkness was a completely different cover and it was a pocketbook when I ordered a regular book. So I had to return that. And then just really unfortunate accident, the other book I ordered, which was the perfect edition and exactly what I wanted. By the way, it was a US cover in the UK, which hard to come by. So I was very stoked with that, but unfortunately it had just accidentally had a little cut in the back from like a box cutter, I think, from someone opening. So that was very unfortunate, so I had to return that. And then while I was in town, I could not find any scrapbooking things. So I don't have any scrapbooking style stuff, but I think I'm just going to keep it simple and just like do some drawings and like just map it out visually. And maybe as I continue, I'll order some scrapbooking supplies. But if I keep putting off, I'll never do it. So alas, better to start than to not. This is a book I had last year. It's quite embarrassing actually. I filled out like all of 3 things. So I did like my book of the year. I don't know what that was. Maybe I should go back and figure that out. I did really like this spread actually. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. On my January spread. That was actually really cute. I really like that. So I think I'm going to continue down this style, this theme. But first I want to sit down with my computer and kind of get a sense of all the different books that I want to start to tackle, so I can kind of have a mental list of books that I want to read. Anyway, there is sun in my living room currently, so we're going to relocate down to the living room, and then I will loop you in on the rest. Okay, so I have grabbed all of my supplies here. I have found this, which I got so randomly as part of, I really wanted a fairy book, and the person that was selling it only had the full box, so I got this as part of the box. I really genuinely didn't think I would use it, but I had an idea, so we're gonna play with that later. But first, before we get to any of the actual physical writing or scrapbooky stuff, not that I have any scrapbooking, but you know what I'm trying to say, I am going to be running through my Notion board. And so I have an entire Notion board, not at all sponsored, but I would not be mad because I genuinely use Notion for like every part of my life. It's a little scary. So in my Notion board, I have every book I own, plus every upcoming release. I try to. Every upcoming release that I want to keep on my radar. And then it's also where I record all my books that I've read. This is where I personally keep track of all my reading. And so yeah, it's something I need to update. I have a few more books that I need to add. And I have a few different reading goals this year, which we're going to get to. But I essentially want to make sure that as I'm going through filtering, like I'll kind of build a TBR cart on that list. And as I'm building that TBR cart, I just want to like make sure that I have all the books that I genuinely want to get to this year because of my new reading goals. So anyway, we're gonna do that right now. Have a hot drink. And then we'll move on to fun things like the actual scrapbooking side of things. Alright, so I've now run through my list. The sun has come. Oh, it is heavenly, but yes, it is bright. I am sorry. I have just run through my list. I am a little bit nervous because the list I have is probably around 70 books long, which is most of my reading year, which is good in the sense that I have a plan. Not great in the sense that that feels like very restrictive. So I am going to keep it a loose TBR. So I've highlighted the books that I think right now are a priority and it might change. So that's kind of where I'm at. And then basically what I've done, I can even maybe take a screenshot for you so you can kind of get the idea. So I have a category for the month that I'll be reading it, the name of the book, the author, status, whether or not I've written a review. That's just something for my personal thing because I like to leave reviews and that's just something I track. How I read it. So if it was on Kindle Unlimited, which I'm phasing out by the way, ebook, hardback, BookBeat. I have a BookBeat subscription. And so I just kind of track how I read it and then purchase status. So if it's through my library, I have a field specifically for my library to remind myself that if I want to read it, I don't buy it if it's at my library. If I can get it from my library first. I tried that. So anyway, that's the general layout. So I've gone through and I've got my major releases coming out for this year. So many books are coming out on April 7th. Don't know what that is. Something in the publishing industry. Something about that day is apparently very exciting. Or maybe the 7th is like the day of the month where books get released. I don't know, but I have 4 on that very specific day. So that is that. So now we're gonna move on. Before I jump into my actual book journal, what I was mentioning before with this is I'm actually I went and found, I have all these like book print-offs, so like little mini books that I printed off last year, and I just never got around to using them because the intention was to stick them in. But now when I found this, I was like, hey, that could be a really cute idea. I put all of the individual books that I want to read in there, and maybe I could just like, if I'm struggling to pick what I want to read, I pull out a book. And then if I don't like that one, I pull out a different one. Anyway, this is the plan. So I'm going to start with that, and then we'll move on to the book journal. Alright, well, we have in fact finished the reading journal. This has been very productive. I feel very good about this too. I think I've learned quite a bit from the last one I attempted to do. I think simple is the way forward. If it's not simple, I will not do it. So we have the jar of books. If I feel like I don't know what to pick up, I'm gonna reach in here and I might read I don't know, White Teeth by Zadie Smith, or I might read, what else might I read? The God of Small Things, because I've been putting that off because it looks really complicated. Or I might read, you're getting the idea of this, but anyway, these are all the books I need to read. Divine Rivals. Yeah, so these are all books that I own. I need to add to this. I don't have all of them in there, but I have a good chunk. And then my book journal. So I actually just went straight on in. I've left what was already there before, just there. We're not ripping it out. We're moving on. We're carrying on, which makes it less intimidating for me. So hopefully that means I'll do it. So kicking off the spread here, I started with my reading goals. So number one is I want to read 100 books this year. I think I tackled 80 books, but that was in July and August. No, July I read quite a bit. August I read basically nothing, and September also was a very slow month. And I think there was a lot of delay in my reading because of indecision. I just would read a book series, like the start of a book series, be so invested in it, and then for whatever reason I was like, I want to read diversely, I think was my rule for last year. And so I would stop reading that even though I was really into it, and then put myself be like, no, I need to move on. But then I would end up spending like 3 or 4 days not being able to get into anything else because I was too busy hooked in this other world. So I think if I don't force myself to stop reading, if I just want to keep reading a series, I'm just going to keep reading a series, and it's fine. And I think that's going to be very possible. And also if I don't take a break in August. Next on the goals was I want to read 12 classics. This is like old school. So like I want to read just classics that I keep putting off for no reason. Like I read so many classics in high school and I had such a good time. And it's just something I don't reach for very often, but whenever I read them, I'm like, I love this. I'm having such a good time. So things like Frankenstein and Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights. I know, I haven't read it. So anyway, those just need to be read. It needs to happen. And so we've got 12 spots here. The next is read the series. That's all it says. And it's read the series that I've been putting off because I have so many series, and there's definitely gonna be more than the 4 that I've listed here, but yeah, I just keep putting off series. And so I want to read completed series is specifically what I want to sink my teeth into. So much more fun than waiting years and years for a series when I have entire series waiting for me to sink my teeth into. Next, I want to continue to read on Archive of Our Own. I had such a fun time. I read my first fan fiction this year. I feel like fan fiction adds this like different layer to it. that is just, I don't know, like in the same way that I have a little bit of fantasy and a little bit of romance, like I feel like my reading experience needs a little bit of fan fiction to, I don't know, I just feel like the stories that exist there operate on a different storytelling format. I feel like the way that they're written is sometimes not fitting within the realms of what is like published, and I think my brain needs that. It needs to be remembering that stories don't have to be told in ABC. It can be ACBD, you know what, like you can make it up, do it however you want. And I think that's really healthy for my storytelling brain to know that there is no right way. Just write stories, read stories, have fun. Then the last goal, if you will, is this is gonna be very ambitious, but this year one of my like just personal goals is I want to relearn French. So I learned French in high school, and just for personal reasons I want to relearn French to kind of like a B2 level is my goal. We will see how that goes. And so as part of that goal, I have decided that I want to read one book in French by the end of the year. I feel like it's not hugely like unachievable. Like I feel like it's possible, and I mean like read it and like ideally understand it, but look, if I have to slog my way through an entire book and I'm like writing notes the entire way, that's fine too. I think the goal is just to get it done. So anyway, those are our goals. My goals. I would love to know what your goals are for the year, if you have something similar, if you have anything that's different, I would love to know down below. Then next on the next spread is like a bookshelf spread. So I did a similar one last year and I really liked that, so I kept that. And there's 100 books on these shelves, but I have a little bit of space so that if I need to add more, I can. I don't know if that's even going to be a thing. We'll see. But I've left some space just in case. And then on the next, I have 26 books in 2026. I'm actually gonna print off the individual, like kind of like these books, or ideally, yeah, these books that I have here. When I finish reading a book, I'll just like stick it on top. Whoa, that's way too big. I need to print these off smaller. Yeah, okay, so I'll be printing those smaller. And then after that, I did a 2026 overview, which is kind of just like by month. And then I've got like number of books read, pages read, because I read chunky books. So I feel like for me, mentally, I have to remind myself that yes, it's okay if I only read 6 books, but they were like 800 pages each. Good reminder. How many 5 stars, and whether it was an ebook, a physical, or from the library. I've got some space for additional categories there. I don't know what else I will add, but I have room just in case. Then comes into January. I've just kind of started this one. There's not a lot happening here. I'll probably flesh it out at the end of the month, which is only in a few days, but yeah, that is going to be the plan. I'll stick down all the little pages and keep my stats there, and maybe I'll do a little review. And things I want to really focus on in my monthly wrap-ups are like quotes that I really loved, and like things that really stuck with me, because I think by the end of the year it's so easy just to kind of go, and I want to have this be a place where I keep those things, because it's all well and good to be like, I read these books, but for me personally, however you want to do it, not here to judge, but for me personally, what I want is a place to track like my favorite quotes, the books that like really moved me, what I loved about a book, like those kinds of things. That is pretty much the gist. I think that's going to be where I leave you for today. I am really glad I did this, so I really hope I can stay accountable on this. I think I might set an alarm. I'm going to set a monthly alarm. Anyway, that is it for today. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're reading something fantastic to start the year. If you are, please let me know what you're reading. And I will see you on the next one.